moving back the spacecrafts to safe distance now. The docking process will be done after the analyzing of this data. All right, now viewers, let's also take a close look at how these satellites are looking at, and in fact, as you can see, this is the image where the understanding of the same can be done. This is the satellite, one satellite capturing the other satellite is this image. While in this picture you can see both the satellites are just 105 meters apart. And the European satellite Sentinel-2A has confirmed that the satellites are just 3 meters apart. As you can see, the SDX-02 and the SDX-01 are just 3 meters apart, as this can be confirmed also through this visual, viewers. All right, viewers, now also let's in fact get to the understanding of the ISRO's SpaDex mission that in fact has been put very well here to be explained. The PSLV C60 has been lifted off at 9:58 p.m. at the IST on 31st of December from Sriharikota, where in fact this was also widely captured. This is ISRO's SpaDex mission that has been explained. It's just a few points, viewers. On 31st December, this was lifted off from Sriharikota. Then the PSLV C60 was deployed two identical satellites, that was the SDX-01 and the SDX-02 within 15.2 minutes of the launch. The two satellites were deployed right in that adjacent region. While we in fact move ahead to understand it furthermore, each satellite weighed around 220 kgs. The weight of the satellite is currently standing at 220 kg and both are orbiting at 470 kilometers above Earth. Both the satellites, the SDX-01 and the SDX-02, are orbiting around the Earth at 470 kilometers above. The aim first of this ISRO's SpaDex mission is in fact at this point of time, while we are also looking at the details coming at this point, is the first aim is to demonstrate the docking and the undocking capabilities between the two satellites, where the second aim is to attempt the two docked satellites orbiting at the speeds of 28,000 kilometers. Apart from the capabilities of orbiting around each other to demonstrate the docking and undocking, the key requirements are that both the satellites must be maneuvered to reduce the relative velocities to 0.036 km per hour. This is in fact the data that we have gathered as per the understanding, and also puts out in fact a comprehensive understanding of what the SpaDex mission entails to, how essential that is, and what is in fact the entire mechanism through which it has also been launched. The first objective of the SpaDex mission, viewers, is the two satellites which are designated as the chaser and target will merge to form a single unit. That is in fact the main understanding and lies in fact at the core of how to understand this. The second objective is performing precision rendezvous and docking maneuvers. This is in fact pertaining to these two satellites which are going to form and merge into a single satellite. Third is to validating the power transfer between docked and spacecraft operating payloads within a 2-year lifespan. While there are in fact many aims and objectives of this mission that has been in the preparation for a long time, let us also understand what does docking essentially mean. What is space docking to begin with? It is a process of bringing a spacecraft together in orbit. Two spacecrafts to be brought up into an orbit is what docking essentially means, while it involves a series of precise maneuvers to achieve the control and stability between two vehicles. Two separate spacecrafts to be merged into one orbit and to bring them together is what docking, and it allows for the assembly of the large space station, transfer of the crew and the supplies. This is what in fact it then results into, and then enabling the astronauts or the robotic systems to refuel, repair and upgrade the satellites in the orbit. This is for the enhancement as per the scientific name, nomenclature and the understanding. This is what it exactly does? Extends the astronaut or the robotic system to extend the lifespan and reduce the space debris. Essentially, it further leads in to reduce the space debris. It is also essential for the transferring samples and collected from the other celestial body. Very essential point for the transferring of the particles that have been collected from the other celestial bodies is what the docking mechanism yields to. The first key step is rendezvous, where two spacecraft approach each other in the orbit, gradually reducing the distance, which is what we are also understanding, and we are going to put it forward through the enhanced visuals to actually understand of how the docking system is looking like. And this phase requires the precise and calculations, while the maneuvers to ensure a safe approach. This is a very technical and a very precise manner in which this entire activity is to be undertaken, and once the spacecraft are in close proximity of each other, they establish stable connection. This is in fact the manner in which both the SpaDex mission and the orbits in which these two spacecrafts have been lifted off have been prepared to be designated in a manner that the proximity of these two spacecrafts are near, and the proximity when is near, they can establish a safe connection. This is in fact the step 2 that we are also talking about, how the process of the docking is undertaken. This is done using docking mechanisms such as clamps, latches or berthing rings. These are the mechanisms through which the process of docking can be used. This process often involves a series of soft contacts and adjustments to align the vehicles. This is how the process gets into the being. The spacecraft may further integrate and the opening hatches to allow crew and crew transfer. And after the integration, the crew and the transfer of the crew does happen. That's under the part of the key step 3, which involves the additional procedures such as leak checks or to ensure a safe environment as well. After the integration, the leak checks are yet another point where the docking system is also very essentially to be carried by. The relative, while now we must look at the challenges which get involved and which in fact the scientists also have to face while the docking is underway. The relative velocity between the chaser and the target spacecraft must be near 0. This is the scientific reason of when the process can be aligned. The distance between the chaser and the target spacecraft must be controlled very carefully. These are also the conditions through which the space docking is carried out and undertaken very precisely. And the third challenge, if the relative velocity is too high, the docking attempt can fail and causing damage or collision. This is one of the consequences if the process of docking does not take place properly. If the velocity is too low, in another case of contrast, it may take up too long to complete the approach, which could lead to fuel inefficiencies. These are some of the challenges, and apart from that, we hope to make you understand, viewers, how exactly the space docking aligned with the challenges can potentially be a very crucial step for the understanding of what this ISRO SpaDex mission entails to. All right. Now, my colleague Belly Thomas is joining me for more. In fact, Belly, very good morning. Now, we are talking about the SpaDex mission, satellites close into 3 meters in trial, and ISRO to take a call on the final docking soon. What are the updates that you are picking up in this regard? On 31st December, that was in fact the day when from Sriharikota it was lifted off.
Simran, it is a giant leap for the ISRO to make this possible. The docking, which was scheduled earlier on January 9th between the two satellites, the target and the chaser, did not happen as when they drew closer to around 225 meters. There was unexpected drift that happened happened between them, and due to poor visibility that set in, the docking experiment had to be aborted, and then again these two satellites would go back into into their orbits, circling the Earth. But now the attempts of maneuvering these two satellites closer to each other has attained 15 meters, and like you said, at 3 meters, where the video monitoring system would come into come into active mode, and the satellites would click pictures of each other. So that's what we saw from ISRO, that the stunning images that has been captured by these two satellites that are about to be docked. So when these satellites are getting closer to about 5 meters, the autonomous docking system initiates, and thereon everything happens in an automated manner. And like you rightly pointed out, there are chances that there are consequences, whether the docking positioning should be correct, and the latches and the latching as such would happen proper. They are assessing on the drift as such, and these two satellites, like you said, was carried by the PSLV C-60 on December 31st from Sriharikota, where it was put into an orbit 470 kilometers from the Earth, and it has been traveling around the Earth with a velocity of around 28,800 kilometers per hour, and it is at this speed that these two satellites have to be drawn closer. That is, the chaser would go near the target, and it would get docked. So at present, the ISRO have attained the maneuvering of these two satellites within a distance of 3 meters, where these two satellites are definitely at the line of sight, and the automated docking system would be initiated, and in any time from now, the docking process can be achieved if the situation, if there are favorable conditions up there, Simran.
Well, all right, Belly. Thank you for, in fact, adding these details and putting more information on record as far as the ambitious and highly anticipated ISRO SpaDex mission is concerned. Group Captain V.N. Jha, who is a former Joint Director of the DRDO, is joining me on the same, in fact. Sir, very good morning and appreciate you joining me live. The twice delayed and much anticipated space docking mission and experiment, which we call SpaDex, involving two satellites, might be happening and becoming a reality soon. How do you look at these developments, and what is your understanding of how successful this could be?
Very good morning, Simran. I heard you very carefully, and you have explained a lot to your viewers. However, in the simpler terms for the viewer to understand, what this entire exercise is, that there are two bodies in space under the absolute microgravity, weightless condition. It is orbiting Earth at 470 odd kilometers above the surface at the velocity of about 7.6 kilometers per second, or 28,000 kilometers per hour in the approximity of. Now, the entire exercise is that there are two satellites who have to couple together, and that coupling is absolute precision. There is no room for error. Hardly about 1 degree variation in their approach can be acceptable, and the coupling will have to be in the position where transfer of payloads or the substance within the chaser will have to go into the target. This is expecting that suppose tomorrow there is a Indian space station and there is a supply going from Earth, from India to the space station, supply or the crew. They will have to dock with the Indian space station in the precise matter, by and large automated, and then there will be transfer of those crew into the spacecraft, international or Indian space station, or the supplies into that space station. This is the basis of it in the simpler term. In other terms, suppose when Chandrayaan 4 goes to moon, it is going with one main objective of bringing back the samples of lunar surface. So from the lunar surface, when the lander again ascends, climbs up, and then gets into the orbiter, that coupling will have to happen, that docking will have to happen, and then there will be transfer of the samples into the main orbiter, and then the orbiter will come up. This is the basis of thinking how it is, what is expected to be there. So right now these two satellites, SpaDex, there is one target and another is chaser. Just 2 days back we have talked on your channel that chaser was left far behind, it had drifted, and there was a problem whether it can close on to the target, come nearby. So full compliment to ISRO scientists that they have managed to bring the chaser satellite within 3 meters of the target, and now it is they are getting now ready to ensure that the coupling happens within the degree of freedom that it has got. You know, the degree of error that they can accept is just about 1 degree. So this chaser satellite, which is coming to the target satellite for coupling, can rotate either in either of the 3 axes that is possible. Now that rotation of the extent of 1 degree is acceptable. If it is more than 1 degree, it cannot couple. It will damage the interface plunger and the socket that it has got. It is called the androgynous sort of interface, where there is a plunger. It will go into the groove which is meant for it. Usually there are 3 plungers which will have to go and dock with the complete precision of 1 degree error, not exceeding 1 degree error. So that is what is the exercise right now. So now, since it has come to nearly 3 meters apart, ISRO scientists will now completely analyze the position of the chaser, whether it is oriented with the exactly within 1 degree of error or not. If not, then they will try to again maneuver the target and bring it to the position wherein it is in the complete alignment with the target, and then it will close in and gradually reducing the velocity, it will go and dock with the target. That is the entire exercise. There are, it is a rocket science. It is a complete precision and too many variables.
All right, Captain, we enjoy, in fact, thank you for giving us your time and putting this in detail and with complete precision as to what exactly is going to be the next step forward as far as the space docking and the success of this entire process of docking is concerned. Now, ISRO postponed the ambitious SpaDex mission for the second time on Wednesday on January 18th, citing the issue arising from the axis drift between the satellites. The first attempt for the docking mission was originally scheduled for January 7th and was then rescheduled on January 9th. The mission, called Space Docking Experiment, would make India the 4th country in the world to achieve a feat essentially for expanding the future deep space exploratory missions. The SpaDex mission, launched on December 30th, aims to demonstrate in-space docking using the small spacecraft. Suresh Nayak is joining me live on the broadcast, viewers, who is the ex-group director at the ISRO. Thank you, sir, for speaking to us and in fact giving us your time at this point of time. The mission of SpaDex is going to make India the 4th country in the world to achieve a feat for the essential expanding of the future deep space missions. How do you react to this very development, while this comes after 2 attempts which have been not so successful? This is much anticipated to have been in fact yielding in the positive direction.
Already the earlier speaker has explained the background and the procedure in detail. So now I would say that these 2 postponements are actually required to be made, because after spending so much of money, about 125 crores plus 250 crores, and after so many, 10 years the work is going on, we don't, as far as possible, want to take any risk at the last moment. And we are at the last moment now. And whatever time is required to achieve the success, we have to give it, because finally the success of the mission is most important. Now let me add just a few points. The first thing is now the what you call chaser has come in the vicinity of the target, and now the speed or velocity of the chaser to move further for docking is extremely important. It has to be low velocity to avoid the contact, with the target, which will damage the whole mission. So now the velocity will be kept to about 10 millimeter per second, and then slowly it will dock. These 2 will dock. I will also like to add that the primary objectives were mentioned earlier, as for this is for space station. Then another thing is Chandrayaan-4, that is sample return mission. In addition to that, I would like to also add that this will be also useful for Indian on the moon mission. That way it is extremely crucial for the ISRO's next ambitious plans. And that is why a lot of care has been being taken to see that we achieve success to the extent possible. Everything is being put, all the intelligence of the ISRO scientists and efforts are being applied for making this mission a success. And the whole country should give a salute to ISRO for that. And now I want to add another thing. The primary objectives were already mentioned. Now there are some secondary important objectives also. After these 2 satellites are coupled together, we are going to do the power transfer experiment between the 2 satellites. This is the first time, of course, which we'll be doing, because no docking mission was taken earlier. And what does it mean by a transfer of power? It means that power from chaser to power from target and vice versa is made possible by means of connectors on the interface side of both spacecrafts. And what happens is, sometimes it so happens both the satellites have got solar panels on them to give the electricity, but one of them may get a little excess power, another one may be in deficit of power. So in that case, the power management system on the satellite will automatically adjust the power distribution. This is a very important experiment which will be performed on this experiment. Then in addition to that, why ISRO's missions are always low cost is because we also combined on that a robotic arm deployment and redeployment. In the sense, there is a robotic arm which we already tried, ISRO already tried, to see that it opens up and it again closes. So this also will be useful in Chandrayaan-4 mission for picking up the samples of soil and rock pieces from moon. So you see, now so many objectives are combined in one mission, and that is why this particular thing is a low-cost mission. Another thing which I would like to add is this particular mission is interesting in a way that actually, all future multiple launch missions with a common objective. For example, I already gave a sample return motion. There will be 2 launches and common objective of getting the samples back. Then space station, building and operation of the space station. So multiple launches are required, right? So like that, Chandrayaan, Indian on the moon also will require multiple launches. So wherever multiple launches are required, this docking is an essential technology which ISRO should adopt. So you can understand now that how important it is to a basic step, basic technology required to fulfill our future missions with success. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Naik, thank you for in fact giving us your time and putting this in perspective as precisely as you have in fact done. Now also VN Jha, my another guest is joining me live on the broadcast. Sir, the SpaDex mission was launched on December 30th and which aims to demonstrate the in-space docking using small spacecraft. To get it understood briefly, what I would just like to understand from you is that how crucial do you think this important marker and a milestone for India, especially in the area of a space exploration is, given the kind of capabilities that in fact ISRO is also demonstrating?
And crucial it is because, these technologies are seldom spared by any other country. Right now, USA, Russia and China, these 3 countries have got this particular technology. And I don't think they will share this technology or they will grant the transfer of technology to ISRO, because they are the very crucial, vital technologies which are usually developed in-house. And since our satellites, our spacecraft, our space station, our Chandrayaan 4 design is entirely different from what Russians or Chinese or US would have had. So we have to adopt to our technology. I think ISRO is on the right track. They have right now closed into about 3 meters. Now it has to come and interface. Last moment we say that there is always a slip between cup and lips. That is possible because this is in the technological development, all this happens. And one more small bit of setback for ISRO is that they have used only 2 motors in their chaser, while most of the space agencies, they use about 16 to 24 motors to have a complete control onto the 3D, whether in the linear plane or in the rotational. One small hiccup for ISRO, that manipulating rotational aspect will be slightly difficult with the 2 motors, but it is possible. They must have already done here on the ground before sending the spacecraft into the orbit, and it is possible. Now, they will have to see how it is there, and as I told you earlier, the degree of error is only 1 degree, because if the displacement is more than 1 degree, the interface, the docking will not take place in the manner that it is expected. There could be a damage to the plunger, there could be damage to the other things. So this is the intricate area of now closing in from that 3 meters to the complete docking. And as you have already explained in your opening address, that after docking, there are a few things which have to be checked. One is the power supply of the chaser will have to go to the target. Second one is that there should be no leakage at the interface. And that is a very crucial thing, because that will ensure that the docking is proper. And third, that transfer of the payloads from the chaser into the target. These are the mechanisms within with which it will be all happening. We have to remember one thing, that both these spacecraft, whether it is the target or the chaser, are under complete zero-G conditions. There is no friction at all. So any sort of movement or impact will affect the interfacing of each other, because Newton's third law that says that in case if there is an impact, there will be reactionary movement of the target or the other space bodies. So let's hope that all goes well. I wish ISRO the very best of it. They have come very close to it from the position that 3 days before we were saying that it is almost getting to the bleak part of it. There is no time frame. These two spacecraft, the chaser, will continue rotating in the orbit for 2 years or so. So there is no urgency of as many days, because both aircrafts have got independent power supply right now. Only problem is that the target has got a smaller power supply. It was expected that after the coupling happens, after the docking happens, power supply from the chaser will boost the computers and all other systems of the target. So that is one small concern point, that so that the docking takes place as early as possible, so as to run the entire things. Of course, the target also has some sort of Earth, mapping bodies into it, which it will have to act or initiate after the docking happens. So there are some additional functions that it is supposed to be doing. I only wish ISRO the very best of it. ISRO scientists, I know they are best among the world. They should be able to manage it, but there are surely difficulties on the technological front. Simran.
Well, all right. In fact, Group Captain V.N. Jha, as we have also been talking about how the SpaDex mission, which has in fact been a very monumental movement creating in history in the in-space docking using the small spacecraft, is going to in fact be a big moment for India. The PSLV C-60 rocket carrying these 220 kilograms satellites have lifted off from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, with the spacecraft placed into the 475-kilometer circular orbit. And this is only going to be very huge, as just in some time when we get the update, the docking process will be done after the analyzing of data. The space agency ISRO has also said the trial attempt to reach up to 15 meters and further up to 3 meters is already done. In fact, Group Captain V.N. Jha, as we are also putting out the facts of this very development at this point of time, how do you see this, in fact, also making a benchmark for the India across the globe, as far as, the preparations for a long time of the SpaDex mission have been concerned? Because given the fact it is just for 2 times that the ambitious SpaDex mission could not be successful. But what are the expectations once, after this is becoming a reality soon and the maneuver to reach the 225 between satellites becomes also a reality?
Well, to be very frank, most crucial part of it is the rendezvous. What chaser had to do the rendezvous, that part is already done. Through that rendezvous maneuver, chaser has already come within the 3 meters of the distance or separation from the main body. So one part is proven, that the rendezvous part of the spacecraft, of the docking mechanism, is almost certified that it is foolproof, it is working. Now, second part is now the docking part of it, which is of course much more precise than the rendezvous part of it. But I'm somehow very hopeful that since the spacecraft both are very close together, 3 meters apart, so it is absolutely close by. Only problem is that the actual position in 3D of the chaser body will have to be less than 1 degree away or error of the freedom of the rotation is just about 1 degree, less than 1 degree. So the spacecraft now have to be maneuvered so that all planes, whether it is linear plane or it is the rotational plane, it is within 1 degree of the chaser, and then it has to close onto for the docking. So this is an intricate maneuver, no doubt at all. We are talking of space science, we are talking of rocket science, and remember these two bodies, chaser and target, are right now moving at about 17,000 miles per hour. That is about 27 odd thousand kilometers per hour. So it's a huge moment and a huge velocity that it is right now traveling. And within that, when the spacecraft will have to maneuver, it is a very intricate maneuver. And that too, I told you, it has to come within less than 1 degree of error. So this is a very precise and very intricate operation. But I'm sure the space body, ISRO, has already done at ground before sending the spacecraft. They have had many simulations. So they should be able to do it. I only wish them all the very best so that India comes and joins the club of the great four in the space technology. And tomorrow, this particular technology of docking is certified, which is India's own. It is different from all others. Wish them all the very best of it. Simran.
All right, Group Captain V.N. Jha, thank you very much for in fact being with us on the broadcast and always in fact being so detailed with your analysis and your understanding of what the monumental steps and the achievements of India's space mission is concerned. Now also joining me live on the broadcast is Dr. Raju, who is a former ISRO scientist. Thank you very much and appreciate you joining me live on the broadcast. It's a landmark trial, Mr. Raju, where the Indian satellites have approached within 3 meters of each of being apart from each other of the space docking experiment that has been in the pipeline. After 2 failed attempts, this is going to be very much anticipated. Your first thoughts?
My first thought is very positive in the sense that it's a very, very crucial, effort. And we are unique. We are the 4th country in the world if we are successful after China, Russia and America. And I'm sure the way they are taking very cautiously this step is certainly, I am very hopeful by the way the people working in the ground station and the control station, this will be achievable, no doubt about it. Because we are almost close to a few meters. I think the latest message as I have seen, as I have been following it up, is not very far away from connecting. It is very, very important that this mission is successful, and it will be because we have to get ready for the Gaganyaan mission, where we have to make the 3 major connections. Success is required in 3 different, levels of technology. Number 1, we have to connect physically. We have to make a passage of people going from one craft to another craft. Then we have to establish the control system, take over from, the chaser aircraft. Chaser aircraft will take over of the target aircraft, and the control, the orientation, the stabilization, etc. will have to be performed by the chaser spacecraft, which I think is doing quite well because we have come down from 20 kilometers to a few meters or a few millimeters. We have to achieve very, very crucial, and we have to establish the electrical connection. Now, control connections, electrical connectivity, and also physically make passage. It's very, very similar to, connecting 2 trains, two bogies, where you make a vestibule connection for the people to travel from one aircraft to another aircraft, one spacecraft to another spacecraft. So I'm sure we are a few hours away or very, very close to the achievement, which is, I'm sure it is going to happen today. looking at the progress, I'm sure it will have to be very, very successful today itself. So I'm personally very much excited because as we have been watching, I've been following it up, there are 24 experiments, 24 payloads in these two crafts. Most of them have been successfully tested, and one of the significant achievements is the growing of the sprouting of the seeds. So, it is apart from the docking program, we are very happy. I am personally being an ISRO, ISRO family member. Past, I was working in ISRO, and I'm sure this will be successful. And my best wishes to the entire team and the strenuous day and night working team. Thank you.
Mr. Raju, thank you in fact for being with us and also sharing your latest and your thoughts on what it means for the country. As far as the feat we are talking about is being attempted using the indigenously developed Bharatiya docking system. And Dr. Raju, as in fact you are talking about how crucial this step is, and we all understand the in fact movement for the nation. For the Bharatiya docking system, as far as it is concerned, the feat is also very lauded as far it's, I believe, happening for the first time. What are your first thoughts on that?
This is a futuristic thing when we have to, for example, we want to have a space station in the on the moon itself. Let us not worry about the space station orbiting. That is one thing. That's an intermediate step. In future, we are able to grow our own food. We have to able to extract our own water on another, a celestial body like moon. So all the people, all the spacefaring nations are looking forward to resources, how to generate resources. Because taking oxygen or water or food is a very humongous effort. A few kilograms of transportation from ground to space is very, very expensive. So this is a very important and, interesting thing which we are hoping, where we have almost achieved the 90% of, in terms of, sprouting of the, I'm talking about the sprouting of the seeds, growing some biological, elements is very important. This is apart from docking experiment. Docking experiment, yes, we have been looking at the way things are happening in case of Sunita Williams, where we have been able to struggle, and I'm sure that portion also will be successful. And the criticality and the critical nature of this effort is certainly very, very risky, but calculated risk. I'm sure we will do this kind of thing, get ready for our own crew to go to the International Space Station, which is not far away from today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Raju, for in fact being with us and also understanding about how we are putting this in the focus of ISRO's SpaDex ambitious mission. Now it's time to shift our focus to other developments. Another HMPV case has been found in Assam. After many cases that have been reported from different states of the nation, in Assam, where a 10-month-old child has been diagnosed with the HMPV marking, the state's first recorded case, the child was admitted to the Assam's Medical College and Hospital, where the superintendent of the hospital confirmed the infection and its presence. She has said that they performed the test on the child as a part of routine. But then the results came out positive, and adding that the child is perfectly all right. As of now, a total of 16 cases have been found in India of the HMPV virus, which is also raging in many parts of China. Nibir Deka, my colleague, is joining me for more. Nibir, now in fact the traces of the HMPV virus have also been found in Assam after many cases that have been found in Gujarat and few in Bangalore and other states as well. The HMPV has also made its way in the northeastern state of Assam. What are the latest that you're picking up? All right, as in fact the HMPV cases are on a surge even in India after the outbreak has raged panic and chaos in China, overwhelming the hospitals and the authorities with the surge in the cases. India sees a rising trend, in fact, of the cases in HMPV, now in Assam as well. Nibir, over to you. All right, let's take our focus and shift our focus to other developments that we are tracking on the very latest. North India is experiencing a severe fog situation, leading to the zero visibility in Delhi and nearby regions of the NCR. The ongoing cold wave has lasted for more than 5 days, disrupting the flight operations at the IGI airport, with the runway visibility also decreasing to 50 meters. After many days, when the visibility dropped to 0 meters, it has now further increased to 50. At this point of time, as the Met Department has also predicted many showers for the national capital. The India Meteorological Department issued an orange alert warning due to dense fog and very dense fog at many places around the national capital, cautioning that fog is likely to prevail. An IMD warning has stated that dense to very dense fog at a very few places over Punjab, Haryana and isolated places over Uttar Pradesh, and dense fog at isolated places over Himachal Pradesh, including and accompanied by the cold wave conditions, will continue at the places also across Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Punjab. Yesterday, several states in the nation experienced rain accompanied by chilly winds, intensifying the cold wave further. As the cold wave grips the national capital, 4 flights in the latest have been delayed with an average time of 5 minutes at the IGI airport. However, as of now, no flights have been cancelled. As of now, 25 trains have been delayed due to the harsh weather conditions. Several trains are running late due to the fog crisis gripping the nation. Brian, my colleague, is joining me live on the broadcast. Brian, now the flights have been delayed and the average waiting time has also been witnessed having an uptick, while the trains have also been delayed in the view of the cold wave conditions in the national capital.
Well, Simran, as of now, if we talk about the data of IGI Airport, yes, there have been 6 delayed flights as of now. This is the real-time data till 9:55 a.m. that is now. So, yes, there are delayed flights of 10%, where there are 6 delayed flights, where the average delay time is 5 minutes. Even the disruption index of the very IGI Airport is 0.5, and now the cancelled flights have been won as of now till 9:55 a.m. That is real-time data. Now, talking about trains, there have been 25 trains that have also been delayed as well because of the cold wave and the smog that was there. Even though, yes, talking about now, the smog is not that prevalent, but there have been 25 trains that are running delayed now. You talk about the Purushottam, train, or the Faraka Express, or any other, trains. As of now, there were 25, Ashram Express as well. So there are 25 trains as of now that is running late, and 1 flight that has been cancelled from IGI Airport, and there are 6 that have been delayed. And even to the fact that Bangalore has also experienced 1 cancelled flight, where the delayed flight is 0 as of now. Simran.
All right. Thank you very much for, in fact, adding details, Brian. Now, let's, in fact, shift our focus to other developments. But before that, it was all the news in the nation and the world. We'll continue to track all the developments very closely. Till then, stay with us.
कल करे सो आज कर, रिटायरमेंट अपनी प्लान कर, एनपीएस में इन्वेस्ट कर, छोटे छोटे इन्वेस्टमेंट से कर तू शुरुआत, बड़े कॉर्पस अमाउंट की मिलेगी सौगात।
हाँ, कल भी रहे आज के ठाट, पाओ पेंशन 70 हो या 60, चलती रहे लाइफ की पारी। एनपीएस जरूरी है, हाँ करनी है तैयारी, एनपीएस जरूरी है।
आज सारे मोहल्ले हाजी, खुशियों दी धूमे बाजी, हर स्वाद दिले चटकारे, नचते ने सारे बाजी। लोहड़ी दी बधाइयां, आज मिलके जश्न मनावांगे।
लोहड़ी दियां लख लख बधाइयां।
हो असली मसाले सच सच, MDH।
The greatest tool for transformation is education. And education is Chief Minister Bhagwant Singh Man's priority, especially for those who are deprived and backward. The Post-Matric Scholarship Scheme is an initiative that provides opportunity for the higher education to the students from scheduled castes.
If I would not have got this scholarship, then I might not be able to continue my studies.
For the year 2024-25, 245 crore rupees have been allocated for this purpose. The scholarship amount is directly transferred into the students' accounts.
There is no worry about where the fees will come from and how to get books. Our job is to study and succeed.
Under this scheme, 231,000 students have registered and 92 crore rupees have already been disbursed to them.
I am very happy for my parents because they don't have to struggle for my educational expenses.
Not only that, the outstanding amount of 366 crore rupees from 2016 to 2020 has